Good afternoon and welcome to the July 15, 2013 meeting of the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission. I will now proceed with the roll call. Commissioners Fod?
Here.
Kalfayan?
Yes, here.
Sharkey?
Here.
Wu?
Present.
Report regarding posting of the agenda. The agenda for the July 15, 2013 meeting was posted on the bulletin board outside City Hall on or before Friday, July 12, 2013. Item 2 is introductions and presentations. At A, introduction of new commissioners, Peter Fuad, Ara Kalfayan, and Alex Wu.
Yes, commissioners and viewing public, I would like to officially welcome and introduce the 3 newest commissioners to the Parks, Recreation, Community Services Commission, starting off with Mr. Alex Wu, who is a land use planner and a longtime Glendale resident and formerly of the Building and Fires or Zoning Adjustment Commission. And then we have Mr. Ara Kalfayan, who is the owner of the Phoenicia restaurant, among other things, and very active in the committee. I know he's a member of the YMCA Board of Directors and also on the board of the Home and Netman Athletic Union. And I failed to mention Mr. Wu is also on the YMCA board, among other things. So very active members of the committee. Mr. Kafayan has a BA degree from Cal State San Francisco in physical education, and so has a particular interest in recreation and sports. And then I want to introduce our 3rd newest member, Mr. Peter Fuad, who is a contract law attorney with B of A in downtown LA and also a longtime resident of Glendale, and formerly of the Transportation
and Parking.
Transportation and Parking. I always want to call it Transportation and Traffic, but Transportation and Parking Commission. So welcome to the Parks Commission, and we look forward to your valuable input and advice. And so if you would like to say a few words yourselves, by all means, you can do so.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Duran. Once again, my name is Alex Wu. I've been a resident of Glendale for the past 15 years, and very honored to be sitting on this commission, and I look forward to being able to serve the community, serve the city, as well as looking forward to working with our colleague commissioners and bettering our parks and recs and community services for the city of Glendale. Thank you.
My name is Ara Kalfayan, and I'm a businessman, and I have lived here for a long time. And I've been involved in the YMCA and different athletic organizations, and I hope that I can bring my expertise and help the Park and Recreation Department here.
I'm Peter Fuad. I'm also president of the Northwest Glendale Homeowners Association, and we've been very active in Brand Park, which is in our area, and parks in general, so I'm happy to be on this board. Having just come from the Traffic Commission, I take no responsibility for the I-5 closure.
I'll move on to the next item, which is 2B, recognition of outgoing commissioners, Barton Garpetian, Laurel Patrick, and Stephen Rottfogel. Barton Garpetian was unable to join us today.
Yes, commissioners, with your indulgence, we do have plaques of appreciation which we would like to present to the former commissioners. And I would like to start with Commissioner Laurel Patrick, who just prior to her resignation was the current president or the immediate past president of the commission. And the plaque reads as follows. Community Services and Parks presented to Laurel Patrick in recognition of her commitment and devotion to the community and the welfare of citizens of Glendale and her continued support for the progress and development of the department during her service as a Parks, Recreation, Community Services Commissioner. November 2009 to April 2013.
Oh.
Had a great time doing it, and I learned a lot, and I think the three of you that are new will also really enjoy your time on the commission, so have a great time. I just wanted to say that I think one of the most important things that I learned by being on the commission is about the staff of the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Department. And when I came on the commission, the department had just consolidated two departments into Parks and Rec, and then Community Services, and they all consolidated into one. And then last year I watched as the staff went through decreases both in staffing and in resource levels through all of the budget cutting that was going on. And I've been so impressed with all of the staff throughout this. They have been absolutely wonderful. They have always kept the good of the community in mind as they've gone through these cuts. I've never seen them be disheartened. They've always had a great attitude and have just figured out ways to continue to serve the community. And so I don't want to leave the commission without saying thank you to all of the staff that's here and all of the staff that isn't here, because it's been a difficult few years for the city in general, and I've just been really proud to be part in some small way of watching Parks and Recreation and Community Services get through this and come out a stronger department. So I want to congratulate everybody and thank you for doing such a fabulous job keeping our city a wonderful place to live. So thank you very much.
Next, we have Stephen Raffalgo, who was the president just prior to Ms. Patrick.
Sure. First of all, I'd like to echo what Laurel said about the staff. I think that for my, how many years? Since 2007, it looks like, so almost 6 or 7 years being on the commission. This was the only commission that I ever wanted to be on. I had to fight to get on it. It's the most popular commission. To the new commissioners, you know you're very lucky to be on it because it is the commission that everybody in the city really wants to be part of. Second of all, I want to not only echo what Laurel said about the staff, but with staff and former commissioners and Dottie, I've gotten to know a lot of people really well and made some really fabulous friends, as I'm sure all of you will too. So this is quite an honor. It was an honor to serve, and I look forward to doing something else in this city when the time is right. Thank you very much.
I just want to thank both of them. It was just such a pleasure. I'm going to miss you both, but it looks like we have some great new commissioners. But thanks for all you did. Really appreciate it.
Commissioners, because the commission doesn't currently have a president, you are tasked with selecting a president pro tem from among you. I will now entertain nominations. A second is not required.
I move that Dottie Sharkey be a president pro tem.
Do I hear any other nominations?
No.
Okay. I have a nomination for Commissioner Sharkey to be President Pro Tem. I will proceed with the roll call. Commissioner Sfad?
Here?
I need a yes or a no. I'm sorry.
Oh, yes, but I'm still here, yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Kalfayan?
Yes.
Your father.
Sharkey?
Yes.
And Wu?
Yes.
Okay, so President Pro Tem Sharkey will preside over the remainder of the meeting.
Okay, we're off to a great start here. Okay. What is next, please?
Item 3, upcoming council agenda items.
It's President Pro Tem Sharkey, members of the commission. Coming up on July 16th, which is tomorrow, we have on the council agenda for action items a motion to award a construction contract to ARC Construction, the amount of $1,295,000 for construction of the Maryland Avenue Park, which is a half-acre new development on South Maryland between Garfield and Windsor Road. Also on the agenda, we are sponsoring a proclamation recognizing July as National Parks and Recreation Month. We are sponsoring a commendation recognizing the Cruise Night naming sponsor, which is the Downtown Glendale Association, and the presenting sponsor, which is the Brand Boulevard of Cars. And each of these sponsors donated $15,000 and $10,000 respectively to help pay for this year's cruise night. On the consent calendar, we have a resolution of appropriation to appropriate $5,000 from a grant received from Health Plan Community Giving Organization, and these funds are for the Senior Case Management Program. And the purpose of these funds is to help provide up to $500 in emergency financial assistance to seniors working with our case managers. And that's all on tomorrow's council agenda. Then the following week, on July 23rd, we have a motion to approve the Rose Float design for the 2014 Rose Float. And then on July 30th, we will make a report and ask for approval of the Workforce Investment Board 5-year strategic plan. Then also on July 30th, we have a motion for, or rather approval of a resolution to approve plans and specifications for construction of the Maple Park site improvement project and authorizing staff to authorize for bids. And that's a $1.1 million renovation project at Maple Park. Then coming up on August 6th, we have approval of award of the Federal Workforce Investment Act funds to the Glendale Youth Alliance and the City of Burbank in order to make annual appropriations to those two organizations from the We Up program. And Madam President Pro Tem, that's my report.
Okay, thank you. Now, what is next, please, Iris?
Item 4 is commission staff comments.
Okay, or is that item 3? Does anyone have any comments? No comments. I don't know whether GTV6 is set up to run our golf championship promo, but if any of you play golf, I hope you'll look it up online. It's our second annual City of Glendale Golf Tournament, and it's to raise funds for Glendale Parks and Open Space Foundation. So I don't think they have it. I didn't warn them ahead of time. That's okay. But if you just Google it, it comes up.
What location?
It will be on July 25th. We start out at Shoal Canyon. It's open to everyone, and the 16 finalists get to play at Oakmont Country Club. And as I said, it is a fundraiser. Our first one was last year, and it was so successful we opened it up to even more people. So I hope you'll look into it. And, Iris, do you happen to know the website? I believe it's a City of Glendale Golf Championship, or it's close enough if you Google it.
That sounds just about right. I'm looking at Teresa.
We have major sponsors for the event?
We have Trusted Choice Insurance is our main sponsor, but yes, we do have other sponsors coming in, so, and we thank everyone for that. So, our foundation has 3 signature events every year right now. We have a 10K run where we have close to 700 runners, and that's the main sponsor is Glendale Memorial. We have it'll be coming up the 3rd annual Dodger Night, and that's our main sponsor is Lexus of Glendale. We have many other sponsors, including Northwest Glendale Homeowners Association. They've been really supportive of our foundation, and I thank you for that. So I'll give you more information next time on the foundation.
President Pro Tem Sharkey, I'm sorry. I just confirmed that the website is GlendaleGolfChampionship.com.
Thank you. Thanks, Iris. Oh,
Yes, Madam President, I mentioned cruise night, but I think I failed to mention that it is this Saturday, starting at 5 p.m., and as usual, there will be bands, so there will be musical acts, and if you like to dance in the street, this is your opportunity. There will be trophies for different classic car categories, and so it should be a fun night for all. That is this Saturday. And with regard to the Glendale Rose Float, I also mentioned the Rose Float. One of the fundraising strategies approved by the City Council for this year's Rose Float, or the 2014 Rose Float, is a community donation program. Any member of the community that donates $25 or more will be eligible to enter a raffle to win 2 tickets to ride on the float on New Year's Day. So we want to promote that because that's part of our fundraising. Our goal is to raise half of the cost of the Rose Float. This year's cost is $150,000, and so that will be through a combination of corporate sponsors and community contributions. So we want to go ahead and promote that to the viewing public. Thank you.
thank you. I do want to say that, and the golf tournament is open to other sponsors, of course, and we really promote you with little flags along the course with your name on it. So anyone who's interested out there, please go to the website and look up our sponsorships. And also sign up to play golf.
Can I ask how much we raised last year?
Oh, boy. I don't know. Teresa, do you know offhand? Yeah, over 10. And it was our first ever. And we did it in a record time. I think we decided to do it in June and put it together rapidly, and it did go so well. In fact, if you go to the website, you see so many comments about how well we did. We do first-class job, don't we, Teresa?
The cruise night is on which section blocks of Brand?
That's Honig.
President Pro Tem Sharkey, members of the Commission, my name is Onik Bolenikian. I'm the manager overseeing the Recreation and Community Services section. Cruise night will be on Brand, on Milford, on Brand between Milford and Broadway. The main stage and the acts and the entertainment will be on Milford and Brand. It'll go all the way down to Broadway. This year we're having the Safaris perform, celebrating the 50th anniversary of Wipeout, and the Tokens. And so far we have a little over 230 vehicles signed up for the car show.
Are we closing the street?
Yes, we're closing the streets. We're closing Brand all the way down to Broadway, Maryland, and Orange. We're closing those 3 streets going north and south.
And how many people are we expecting? About
30,000.
30,000?
30 to 40,000 people we're expecting.
Very popular event.
Yeah. This Saturday starts at 5:30 to 10:30. I do have some flyers to pass out. And yeah, feel free, of course, when the sun goes down, to come by. It's going to be a hot day, so we're ready for it. It's going to be fun. Staff gets in around 9 a.m. We set up the entire 5 blocks and work throughout the night.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
What is next, please?
Item 5, oral communications. I don't have any cards.
Okay.
I'll move on to item 6, consent items. At A, approval of the minutes of the Commission regular meeting held on June 17, 2013. President Pro Tem Sharkey and Commissioners, because only one of you, President Pro Tem Sharkey, was present at the June 17th meeting, the Commission is unable to approve the minutes. Item 7, business agenda. At A, action items. 1, motion to note and file a report regarding the 5-year Workforce Development Strategic Plan. Can you turn on your mic, please?
Good afternoon, President Sharkey and Commissioners. My name is Don Nakamoto. I'm the administrator over the Workforce Development section in the department and also the executive director of the Verdugo Workforce Investment Board. Just a little bit about our program. We were created as part of the Federal Workforce Investment Act that was passed in 1999, creating workforce investment areas around the country. There are 49 workforce investment areas in California. Each of the areas is responsible for supplying employment and training services to their region. Our particular region, called the Verdugo region, covers the cities of Glendale, Burbank, and La Cañada, Flint Ridge. That region was formed by a joint powers agreement actually back in 1983, and the city of Glendale serves as the administrative and fiscal agent for that organization. The Verdugo Workforce Investment Board is a policy board that develops initiatives to meet the workforce needs of the employers and also help to put job seekers back to work. To maintain our status as a workforce area, we have to submit a 5-year strategic plan to the governor and to the state workforce investment board, laying out what some of our goals and initiatives will be over the next 5 years. And we have to meet some minimum standards as part of that submission. Rather than focus on the entire document, it's about 300 pages, I'm going to cover 3 of the major initiatives that we're going to be pursuing over the next 5 years. Just as some background, we've been involved in some pretty major issues in the past for this region. For example, during the mid-2000s, this region probably had the worst nursing shortage in California among its 4 hospitals, and we did an initiative with $1 million of funding, special funding from the governor's office, and we were able to train about 300 new nurses that filled some of that shortage. Also, this region has, Burbank-Glendale, a very heavy concentration of entertainment companies and entertainment workers. And it was undergoing some significant changes throughout the 1990s and 2000s. And so to help our region remain competitive and to keep the work in this country and in this region, we did a major training initiative, about $6 million in total, where we trained about 2,500 of the top entertainment workers in the region to keep their skills at a high level so the work would remain here locally. The first initiative we're dealing with is a healthcare initiative. Our region has an extremely high concentration of healthcare. We have 4 major hospitals in the Glendale-Burbank area, over 1,000 doctor's offices or dental offices in our region. It's the largest employer in Glendale and the second largest in the Burbank-Glendale area with 22,000 employees. With the advent of the Affordable Care Act, we believe that the number of patients that will be accessing services in our region will increase dramatically. There are 1.7 million new patients that are estimated in LA County, and some of the analysis our staff has done, we believe there'll be about at least 100,000 new patients in 2014 in the Verdugo area. This increased volume of patients and demand for services is going to create a lot more need for skilled workers that can provide the services. Also, based on the legislation, there are going to be a lot more new requirements, such as dealing electronically with medical records and other aspects that we're trying to arm the workforce so they're capable of supplying the services. So we not only expect additional patients here in the Verdugo region, but we have a lot of people outside of our region adjacent to our area that we believe will be accessing services at our doctor's offices and hospitals. The second initiative that we're focusing on is entertainment related. There's been an explosion in the last 2 to 3 years of entertainment content being delivered over the mobile devices. and it's created a new industry, and a lot of that is based in the LA County area. About half of the entertainment content that's being developed for mobile devices like smartphones, tablets, are being developed in LA County by LA County workers and LA County companies. Our region has been losing a lot of its entertainment jobs to a lot of different factors. You may have heard about the recent layoff of 400 workers at DreamWorks, and a lot of the production work is heading to other states and other countries. Technology has also been a factor, and there's also been an increase in tax credits that other states have been using to try and take the work from the Glendale, Burbank, Hollywood area to their states. But it's also created some opportunities. We believe that there are a lot of workers locally that could participate in this new area of creating entertainment content for mobile devices, and we believe it's a once-in-a-generation opportunity to become involved in this area. The growth is exploding, and it's not only a local phenomenon, but a global one as well. Just as one example, YouTube, they have about 4 billion hours of online videos that are streamed per month now. It's just exploding on the net. Tech companies have been flocking to L.A. In fact, people have dubbed this phenomenon Silicon Beach because it's concentrated primarily on the west side in Santa Monica and Venice. We're estimating over 1,000 new companies have started or moved down to the region in recent years, and these include the big tech companies like Microsoft, Google, Netflix, YouTube. They're all trying to get involved in developing entertainment content, which is a new role for them. The chairman of the FCC called this one of the greatest job creation opportunities that's available. And the jobs are already happening. About 10% of the television production in LA is now web-based productions. What does this mean for the three cities? Our entertainment workers are losing their jobs, but we think there's some real opportunities to help them transition to these new jobs in the mobile area and to help fill the needs of the new companies. We're taking a look at what type of companies exist, the type of jobs that they need, and if they align to our existing entertainment companies. Our third and final initiative focuses on manufacturing. We still continue to have a pretty strong base of manufacturing in the Glendale, Burbank area. And in recent years, that industry has started to turn due to lower energy costs and rising wage costs in foreign countries. In fact, the gap right now between China manufacturing and U.S. costs has come down about 50% to 16% of a differential now. And so that's caused some of the work that was previously done in foreign countries to start returning to the U.S. So we view this as an opportunity to try and capitalize on some of that and help our manufacturers access foreign markets and hopefully keep their jobs here locally. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. The process is, if you approve this proposal, then it would go to the Glendale City Council for approval and then submission to the Governor's Office and the State Workforce Investment Board.
Anyone have any questions? No. Someone like to make a motion to note and file? Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, I'll take roll call. Commissioners Fod? Kalfayan?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Sharkey?
Yes.
Item 6A2, resolution establishing a new fee for participation in a new adult indoor soccer civic league.
President Pro Tem Sharkey, members of the commission, back in February, the Parks Commission and City Council approved the indoor soccer program at the Civic Auditorium. The Civic Auditorium indoor soccer rink or indoor soccer program is available Monday through Thursday between 2 p.m. and 11 p.m., Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays based on availability. What staff does is we set up the Pro Wall Containment System, which is the indoor soccer rink, use it on the upper level of the Civic Auditorium. We use 6,000 square foot of space. Private groups use the facility. They rent out the facility at $75 an hour. Our grand opening of the indoor soccer rink was June 8th of this year. Staff has received many requests for the city to organize leagues, indoor soccer leagues, such as the sports complex staff does for the civic leagues up at the sports complex. So with that being said, staff is requesting the commission to approve the indoor soccer league program. We're hoping to have a league one night a week, year-round, 10 to 12-week seasons at $490 per team. Staff did conduct a benchmark survey, and $490 is a reasonable price per team. We're hoping a team of 10 people, 10 players, will come in and play a 6-on-6 or a 5-on-5 league play, 22 25-minute halves, and leagues will run, like I mentioned earlier, year-round. So we're requesting an indoor soccer league at this time.
Question? Go ahead.
Yes. Are you requesting the fee or the league, or both?
Well, we're requesting the fee. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're requesting the fee. The league will be run by city staff. We will have officials officiating. Basically the same procedures, the same liability forms that we use up at the sports complex and at Pacific will be used at the Civic Auditorium.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioner Pro Tem Sharkey, members of the commission. Initially, when we went to the City Council with this program, the thought was that it would be made available primarily to private groups, outside organizations. And so the commission established and approved the fees for the outside groups, and the council approved the fees recommended by the commission. What we didn't do was include a civic league, which is a league that's organized by the city versus an outside group. So now that we've done that, we're proposing that we need fees to correspond to the civic league. And per the ordinance that established the commission, the commission does have the duty to approve any fees that we charge for any of our services. So we are requesting approval of the fees for the brand new Civic League soccer program at the Civic Auditorium.
Commissioner Kafayan.
These fees are to generate the expenses or to add some revenues for the city?
To add additional revenue, with the first report back in February, we've estimated $110,000. The $20,000 will be included in that $110,000 of additional revenue. It won't be $20,000 in additional revenue. It'll basically be part of that $110,000 that was originally estimated when we first brought the report to council back in February.
And is there a more demand of this soccer?
Yes, from what we've been gathering is the teams out there want to basically play competitively instead of renting out the indoor soccer rink at $75 an hour. They rather have some competition against other teams.
And do we have those private groups are coming in, or they're just individuals getting together?
For private groups coming in, right now we have Tuesday nights reserved for 2 hours for the month of August and September, and then we have another league Wednesday nights between 5 and 11 that has reserved the indoor soccer rink through December. So we're hoping, to fill in the other nights, Mondays or Tuesdays, with the league itself to generate more revenue.
Okay. I think it's a good move. It's a demand is there.
Yeah. Yeah, this is brand new. I mean, this is what, we just opened it last month.
June 8th
Yeah,
was our opening.
June 8th, so.
June 8th was our opening. We had over 200 participants playing. We brought in a semi-pro soccer player, a local Glendale resident. He played with the kids. So we're really excited. So hopefully with this new league, with the new program, we can have more people using the facility. And we're hoping to also have weekend tournaments too within the coming months. Weekend, 1-day or 2-day tournaments.
Do we have programs for the kids, different groups, to bring them in?
We don't have programs yet, but we have contacted the local nonprofits, let it be AYSO, Far West United, Levon Group, the Home and Men's Soccer, and they're all aware that the indoor soccer rink is available for them for use.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions?
No.
Oh, thank you for doing the survey.
Yes.
I think we're right there in,
Yeah, we're
other-
$490 is
Yeah.
really reasonable compared to other indoor soccer rinks.
beautiful facility, too. So do we have a motion? Or, let's see, a motion, a new fee for participation in a new adult indoor soccer civic league.
I move the motion.
Okay. We have a
Second.
second? Okay.
And I'll take roll call. Commissioners Fod,
Yes.
Afayan,
Yes.
Wu,
Yes.
President Pro Tem Sharkey.
Yes.
Item 6B, reports for information only. At 1, monthly activity reports. A, recreation and community services.
Okay, members of the commission, in your packets, you'll find the monthly activity report for the month of June for the recreation section. During the month of June, Civic Auditorium had 14 events, 5 which were department-sponsored or non-revenue activities. The total revenue for June for Civic Auditorium was $63,837, and the total year-to-date revenue was $395,725. As mentioned earlier, in June, we did have the indoor soccer grand opening with over 200 participants. With over 200 participants, we passed out giveaways, raffles, given to us by Pro Soccer in Pasadena and soccer stores in Glendale. It was a very exciting event, and basically staff is really excited to have this type of facility in Glendale. So our hope is that we get more of the private groups, or now our Civic Indoor League participants to call Civic Auditorium staff and reserve the soccer field, the soccer rink, or sign up for the Indoor Soccer League. As for the customer service and community centers permit report, during the month of June, we processed 255 revenue permits and 103 non-revenue permits, totaling of $40,178. Year-to-date, last fiscal year, 2012-2013, 1,894 revenue permits were processed compared to 1,473 revenue permits from 2011-2012, with a 22% increase in revenue permits. Same with our revenue. We had an 18% increase in revenue from $422,000 in 2011-2012. It went up to $515,000 in 2012-2013. So that's the signs that the economy is getting better, and hopefully more and more of our facilities are being rented out for parties, field rentals, and special events. As Mr. Duran mentioned earlier, July is Parks and Recreation Month, and I'd like to invite Julianne Leviant. She's the Community Services Supervisor overseeing Adult Recreation Center. She's going to be talking about Parks Make Life Better, the Parks Recreation Month, and this is a great meeting to start off and market all our programs, some of our programs that we have to our new commissioners. So, Julianne.
Good afternoon, President Pro Tem Sharkey, Commissioners, and City staff. My name is Julianne Leviant. I'm Community Services Supervisor over at the Adult Recreation Center. The National Parks and Recreation Association has designated July as National Parks and Recreation Month. The state organization CPRS, which is California Parks and Recreation Society, in part of its long-term goal, has come up with a brand in which cities across California are encouraged to adopt, which is Parks Make Life Better. And combining the two themes, the City of Glendale celebrates Parks Make Life Better Month. On a recent post on the City of Glendale Community Services and Parks Department Facebook page, we asked followers, why do you love your parks? Although all of us can think of many reasons, some of the answers included the Kids Love Soccer program, day camps, and many of the activities offered through the aquatics program. As childcare is a major concern for working parents during the summer, the Community Services and Parks Department offers multiple options to accommodate these parents, from half-day day camps at Spar Heights Community Center to full day camps with extended hours in the morning and the evenings at Griffith Manor Park, Verdugo Park, Maple Community Center, and Pacific Community Center. The Community Services and Parks Department offers a variety of camps for every parent's budget and every child's interest. In conjunction with the Commission on the Status of Women, we also offer Camp Rosie at Pacific Community Center. Camp Rosie was developed for young women ages 12 to 18 in order to empower them to make personal, educational, financial, and career choices so they can achieve self-sufficiency, career satisfaction, and long-term financial security. With major support from the Glendale Open Space Foundation, our Trails and Open Space program offers a monthly interpretive program, Wilderness Work Days, and the Trail Safety Patrol, which includes mountain bike patrol, hiking patrol, and a river unit. Our aquatics program operates out of the Pacific Park Pool. Our aquatics program consists of swimming lessons, which are in high demand and often sold out. Lap swim, aqua Zumba, Junior Lifeguard Academy, swim team, water polo team, and themed recreation activities such as Splish Splash Family Fun Days. We have 5 parks that also have a wading pool feature. These wading pools are open to park users during the times listed on the slide. They are also available by rent to add additional fun to your park event. Throughout the year, we offer lifelong learning classes such as karate, belly dancing, and fine art classes. These classes are held at each of our 4 community centers and our various parks and facilities citywide. They offer a good way for young participants to learn something new or to master a specific talent. Classes help adults find an avenue for creative and physical fitness and offer seniors a new pastime and an opportunity to socialize and stay young at heart. Our senior activities take place at each of our community centers. Our senior programs include lunchtime themed celebrations, exercise classes, billiards, special interest classes such as woodworking, bridge, knit and chat, and we also get special guests like Barbara Boxer, also featured in the slide right here, coming and talking about Medicare reform. We have a therapeutic recreation program called Club Maple. This unique program allows developmentally disabled adults a chance to socialize and participate in exercise on a weekly basis. The Community Services and Parks Department also partners with various organizations to provide traditional park events, such as theater in the park. If you are having an event in Glendale, you can ask the Community Services and Parks Department to provide some of the activities during your event for a nominal fee. We offer party and flicks on the go and the Glendale Rocks rock climbing wall. Glendale Youth Alliance is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping youth gain employment experience. Businesses in Glendale are encouraged to contact the Glendale Youth Alliance to help youth come in and learn a skill to help further them in their career. We are just in time, as we've heard already, to enjoy Glendale Cruise Night happening this weekend on Brand Boulevard. The time is from 5:30 to 10:30. Bring your family and enjoy an evening of spectacular classic cars and community displays. None of our programs would be possible or nearly as effective if it wasn't for the close working relationship we have with our parks maintenance section. This group of men and women make sure the parks look their best year-round and never hesitate to address special requests, not just by staff, but by users as well. I would like to invite the City of Glendale to come out and play. Thank you.
Thank you, Julianne. On a closing note, I'd also like to invite, like Jess and Julianne mentioned, we have our 20th annual cruise night. It's my first year and Coco's first year working it. We're really excited. It'll be this weekend on the 20th on Brand Boulevard. And another event that staff is working on at Pacific Community Center, believe it or not, we'll be celebrating our 10th anniversary of the opening of Pacific Community Center and that entire Edison complex. So on September 7th at Pacific Community Center, this is going to be a joint event with Edison Elementary School and Pacific Branch Library. We're going to have a 10-year anniversary celebration out on the plaza area. So I know that's we're way ahead, but I want to invite the commission and staff and the public September 7th at Pacific Community Center.
Okay.
Hopefully
thank
we'll
you.
see you this weekend at Cruise Night.
I'll be there.
See you.
By the way, you mentioned revenue is we're doing so much better in the economy, but a lot we owe to you and staff. You've done a phenomenal job.
Yeah, we have staff. We have a media team that was formed about a year and a half ago, and they're marketing. We're marketing on Facebook, Twitter. We have a new leisure guide magazine, the ZMAG magazine. The internet, ISD is really working with us. Same with Public Information Office. Just marketing our programs and getting the word out that we do have these programs out there. Our day camps are doing excellent this year. Cool Days is full. Maple Park is full. Griffith Manor, the move from Brand Park to Griffith Manor has been a positive experience for all our campers. So staff overall, they've been doing an excellent job.
Sure have. They sure have. And I will say to our other commissioners, you are going to be amazed what the city Community Service and Parks Department offers.
Can I ask you a question? What kind of income we're expecting from the cruise night?
Cruise night, donation-wise, we have collected, as of this morning, $38,500 in donations. Car entry fees, we're hoping to collect $10,000 to $11,000. So we're going to break even, hopefully make a little money on the event, but we should be breaking even.
What kind of expenses we have?
$17,500 is being spent on marketing and for our band. We have national acts. We have 2 national acts, the Tokens and the Safaris. We also have marketing that we're working on. Another $5,000 is going to rentals. We're renting canopies, fencing, some tables, and salaries.
Are we selling anything? Are we selling any?
We're not selling anything. Park staff, we're not selling anything.
Okay. I had another question from the Civic Auditorium.
Yes.
Do we have that the auditorium reserved for nonprofit organizations? Do we give it away to the city functions, or how does it work?
We do have the nonprofit rate at the Civic Auditorium, but for city functions and city events, a fee is waived depending on the event. Fee waivers are approved by Mr. Duran or City Manager's office. Okay. Most of the time, fees are waived through Mr. Duran.
Just to expand on that, typically we have three grades or rates that we charge. We charge a standard rate, we charge a commercial rate, and then we charge a nonprofit rate. The commercial rate is what percentage more than the standard rate?
150.
150% more than the standard rate. A commercial is defined as an organization that rents our facilities for their own business venture or for their own business project where they make money and where they charge. Then the standard rate would be, say you're renting an area of the park or a picnic area for a birthday party or the community room for a reception or something. That would be the standard rate. Then the nonprofit rate would be the community organizations. They receive a 25% discount.
They receive a 25% discount, and they have to provide their 501c3 federal tax ID nonprofit status.
And then,
Provide insurance also?
Yes, they have to provide insurance.
yes. And then from time to time, we will get a nonprofit organization to request a fee waiver altogether. And so on a case-by-case basis, we will consider and approve those requests as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, what is next, please?
Item 6B1B, Human Services.
Good afternoon, Madam President Pro Tem, members of the Parks Commission. Welcome. My name is Yvette Samvalian. I'm the Homeless Programs Supervisor. Before I go into my monthly activity today, the Community Services and Parks Department oversees the Glendale Homeless Continuum of Care programming, which is about $3 million on an annual basis. The programming includes offering street outreach to our homeless participants who are unsheltered on the streets of City of Glendale, and various programming including emergency shelter, transitional housing, and even permanent housing. Today I'd like to recognize one of our most critical staff member who works with Ascensia. His name is Alfred Hernandez. He's our lead community outreach staff who on a day-to-day basis works with our chronically homeless population in the City of Glendale, offering services to the clients, exploring the options for their housing, exploring options regarding their ability to get back on their feet and into housing. But before I get into Alfred's bio, I'm going to have Natalie Profant-Camorro, the Executive Director from Ascensia, get into the bio for Alfred and then introduce Alfred to you guys. And then on behalf of the Parks Commission and City, we would like to recognize Alfred for going always beyond what his duty is in helping supporting the homeless participants moving from streets to housing. Natalie and Alfred, if I may have you come up here next to Natalie, and also Alfred's here today with his mom and his fiance to support him.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Commissioners. It's good to see you today. I am so pleased that Alfred is getting this recognition. It is very well deserved. Actually, Alfred was a case manager at Ascensia before we were even Ascensia. He was moonlighting as an evening shelter worker at the Project Achieve shelter, while he was also an employee with the County of Los Angeles as a service navigator for the Department of Mental Health, with the Full Service Partnership. Yes, and he was also a facilitator for the County Drug Court. Following county cutbacks, he was hired as a case manager at Path Achieve Glendale, which was our previous name, and he worked primarily with clients who had mental health issues. He's a veteran with his own history of overcoming addiction and homelessness. He also took time to become a certified substance abuse counselor. In 2009, Ascensia stepped up its efforts to engage chronically homeless people living on the streets with the goal of housing them. When a position in street outreach opened up, Alfred moved into that role, and it's been a great fit. He currently supervises our street outreach program, which consists of making first contact with chronically homeless veterans and other individuals. The outreach team works to develop relationships with long-term homeless people who typically resist services. It can take up to 2 years to convince someone to come in for housing and accept help. Alfred's daily job consists of wellness checks on clients with disabilities who are still living on the streets, transporting clients to essential appointments to ensure that they get the services they need, and follow up to make sure that they move through the process of applying for housing and moving to a new home. The outreach staff plays a critical role in providing the continuity the clients need as they move through the different bureaucracies and services providers to get their help to move into housing. Since July 2010, Alfred has placed 39 chronically homeless people into residential drug treatment, and he's placed 28 people who are chronically homeless into housing. So with that, I think you know he really deserves this recognition.
Absolutely.
With that, I'd like to recognize Alfred with this certificate. Congratulations. Thank you.
You want to say something?
Yeah, I want to thank Ascensia, I want to thank my coworkers, and I want to thank Yvette for making this happen. I really appreciate working here in the city of Glendale, and I hope to continue to do good work here. Thank you.
Alfred, it's an honor to have you here, and your mother must be extremely proud, and your fiancé has chosen a good man. So thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you. Thank you, Alfred. Alfred's role is really critical in the city because anyone who's experiencing homelessness typically is just around the streets of Glendale, sometimes at our parks. And so when anyone encounters a homeless participants, they contact the city. And the first thing we do is we contact Alfred to go out and provide the services to the clients on the streets. In the meantime, he's developing the relationship with the clients to have them come into our access center and emergency shelter programming. So I really wanted to thank Alfred for his time and commitment and his love for what he does. And without Alfred, I know I couldn't have done my job. Recently, Alfred was also critical working with Adult Recreation Center staff and the park, where we had over 10 homeless clients congregating at the park. He was able to get most of them into detox programming after probably 5 or 10 years of working with some of those individuals, and few of them into permanent housing. It's an endless job, but Alfred, I really appreciate you, and I appreciate everything that he does on behalf of City of Glendale and Ascensia. Thank you, Alfred. Commissioners, now I'd like to go on to my report. I have provided the informational report for you. As I indicated before my presentation for Alfred, the Community Services and Parks Department is in charge of the Glendale Homeless Continuum of Care programming. The programming provides a wide range of services, including street outreach, on-the-street case management, emergency shelters to YWC of Glendale and Ascensia. We also have transitional housing programs, permanent supportive housing programs. The Continuum of Care funding is a competitive funding. On an annual basis, the Community Services and Parks Department applies for the funding and competes nationally for about $3 million. And the funding is used and subcontracted to the various nonprofit organizations to provide the service delivery. Most recently, in 2009, the Homeless Emergency Assistance and Rapid Transition to Housing HEART Act was implemented, which changed how continuums are to handle the homeless delivery systems. Some of the critical components for the HEART Act includes housing placements for homeless clients quickly from the streets into permanent housing. One of the other aspects of the outcomes under the HEART Act, in order for us to continue to be competitive, is employment for the homeless families and individuals. As part of that requirement, the City of Glendale, with our Continuum of Care partners and the Vertigo Job Center, had partnered to conduct various workshops, employment workshop geared towards our homeless participants. Some of these participants are our street outreach participants. Some of them are accessing our emergency shelter programming or transitional housing. Some have had skills in the past and others do not have any skills. In order for us to work with the participants, the City of Glendale is offering a series of workshops for the homeless participants along the side with Vertigo Job Center. The workshops usually involves in job search activities, even some simple acts of setting up their online information, emphasizing on money management, saving money, how to pay their rent once they're in housing, and how to become self-sufficient beyond case management services. On April 24th, the workshop, Getting Back to Work, was hosted in the City of Glendale. We had 19 participants. Some were from street outreach and others from housing programs. The workshop was sponsored through Sephora, who provided makeup tips for the women and some of the participants. Also, Latonia Brooks from BR Loft, she provided the wardrobe for how to dress up for the interview. Lunch was hosted by Hotspot Cafe program. So our participants attended the all-day event. Basically, they came in with not knowing what to expect, but most of them left with resume tips and tricks, how to develop their resumes, or even how to use one wardrobe for various interviews, or how to even prepare for an interview. What was interesting, these were the presentation by the Vertigo Job Center. But what was interesting is that in terms of the process, we conducted some mock interviews with the individuals. And the first question typically you get on an interview is, tell us about yourself. And that was the hardest question for our homeless participants to answer, because being in their situation, one of the most difficult situations that they can overcome to be able to answer any other questions in their interview process. This is a mock interview. Staff works with every individual. We did mock interviews with 19 individuals to kind of brief them what the process looks like out there in the real world. A lot of them were really afraid. A lot of them were not comfortable answering questions pertain to themselves and how to become self-sufficient and why they wanted the position or how would they handle certain situations, because they were already in crisis dealing with their homelessness. Mr. Deshaun Mosley, he was one of our participants who actually was a little bit more hesitant in participating in the mock interviews. He interviewed with myself and YWCA of Glendale, and soon after that, he actually was hired with Bank of America. Mr. Mosley was so excited about the opportunity with the mock interview. He followed up with us and the Vertigo Job Center. He continued to update his resume, and once a position came to our attention that was part of his background, which is an attorney, assisting attorneys, we forwarded that information along the site, advocating with on behalf of the clients for the business to be able to give the client an opportunity. He's still currently working with Bank of America. He's graduating from our emergency shelter program and into independent housing. The workshops are really critical because it does, while it's the first step of getting back on their feet. Once they get their first paycheck, they still need to learn how to budget and save and pay their rent and continue to be integrated part of the community. As such, the case managers within the community and the continuum care will be working closely with the 19 individuals initially started and have adopted one person to be able to walk them through that process, to be able to advocate with our business in the city of Glendale to give those opportunities to our homeless participants while we continue to work with them developing their skills. And this is really critical in terms of our Glendale homeless continuum of care, because one of the outcomes is that Glendale is expected to meet is increasing employment for our homeless participants exiting from our permanent housing or homeless service delivery system to 30%. Last year it was 20% and we met that goal. Now we're expected to increase that to 30%. As it is, it's difficult for an average person to find employment with the economy. It's much more crisis when we have participants experiencing homelessness and trying to get back on their feet. But the next couple of weeks, City of Glendale will be hosting the next 6 series of the employment workshops, working on specific targeted areas for our homeless participants, and hopefully next time we'll come back and give you an update of our 19 participants. All hopefully found a job sometimes and become self-sufficient. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer your questions about this presentation or anything regarding our homeless programming.
Any questions?
I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Do we have an estimate as to how many people that are homeless in the city of Glendale?
Yes, Commissioner Wu, Mayor Pro Tem President Sharkey, the City of Glendale conducts an annual homeless count to determine the needs of the community. From the last year count, we had identified 320 homeless persons that are in the City of Glendale on one night, which is January 25th. Every year we conduct that. That compares to 293 in 2012. The chronic homeless population that Alfred works with and that we typically deal with because they have a lot more challenges due to mental illness or substance abuse, we have about 98 adults any given night on the street of City of Glendale. And so that services are offered to them on an ongoing basis, not only through Essentia, but mental health services, the employment services. Various case managers come together to be able to provide a wraparound service until we're able to get the clients into housing.
Yvette, could you mention all the nonprofit organizations that we work with that are in the continuum in terms of the programs?
Yes, Mr. Duran, thank you. The City of Glendale currently works with Catholic Charities and Salvation Army that provide homeless prevention services, utility assistance, rental subsidy, and prevention. We also work with Ascensia, who is our lead homeless service agency in the City of Glendale. We work with Door of Hope Transitional Housing Program. They're located in Glendale. They provide transitional housing for single women and their children who are fleeing domestic violence and are in safe place. We also work with the YWCA Center. They are our other entry to the emergency shelter programming. They work with fleeing women who are fleeing domestic violence, and they provide shelter services, crisis intervention, case management, and mental health services. We also work with I also mentioned Salvation Army, but we work with Didi Hirsch, who's part of the continuum, and they provide the mental health services for the homeless participants.
Do we provide any assistance in any other language besides English?
Most of our materials is English, Spanish, sometimes in Armenian. A lot of the participants speak English. They've been around they speak English. So if there is a need, then we would translate a lot of the information to other languages. But pretty much outreach materials are English, Spanish, and Armenian.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Do we have a program for abused women? Do you say that?
Commissioner Kalafian, yes, the YWCA of Glendale provides emergency shelter programming for abused women, domestic violence survivors. We provide a 45-day shelter in the city of Glendale for women fleeing that situation, and then we provide safety transfers to different shelters in the community if they are from the community area. The domestic violence crisis hotlines work in a sense that we don't serve clients in the same area, in the same shelter system. We provide safety transfers. They also provide the crisis intervention, case management, advocacy, anything dealing with mediation, things like that associated with the restraining orders or so. Our other organizations, Ascensia and Door of Hope, also provide domestic violence services, but the most intense is provided through YWCA of Glendale.
Do we have a special locations that they're hidden, that nobody can reach them, just in a case they're...
Yes, Commissioner Kalafian, the locations are confidential locations, right. And so, like I said, if there is a person who has crisis, we don't allow them to come into the programming within the limits of the city. They are safety transferred to other programmings nearby.
Thank you.
So if it's a Glendale resident, we would refer them outside of Glendale.
Correct.
And then we would take residents from other communities in the Glendale.
Okay, thank you, Jen.
Thank you for your time.
What is next?
Item 6B1C, Park Planning and Development.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Shahan Begumian. I'm the project manager for Pacific Park Artificial Turf Project, and I'm here to give you a short update regarding this project. And the first slide shows the aerial photo of the Edison Pacific campus site. The subject project, the turf, is going to be happening on the northwest corner of the campus. The field, the city and the Unified School District jointly will use the fields. The city has the use of the fields daily during non-school hours, weekends, and when the schools are on the breaks. The field will be rented out to youth leagues, adult leagues, and private groups. CSP staff expects that use of all leagues and private will increase significantly with the artificial turf on this field. And scope of work will include demolition of the existing natural turf, grading and drainage improvements, installation of security fence and gates, and construction of a bleacher seating and improve accessibility to the fields. Next slide shows the construction plan. Our fields, the new fields that we're going to have, is going to be 210 by 150 feet wide. Then project schedule, we got the authorization from the City Council on June 25th to bid this project. I'm having my mandatory pre-construction meeting day after tomorrow on July 17. Bids are due on August 14, and everything goes well. We will start the construction mid-November, beginning of December, and we'll have 100% completion by the end, by mid-April. So that was a short update. I'm here to answer any questions if you have.
Anyone have? No? We're good. Well, I hope it doesn't rain. Oh, there we have.
Excuse me, Jess, could you please turn on your mic?
God, after all that. I just want to mention that Mr. Emil Tatavosian, who is the project management administrator, is on vacation today. Otherwise, he would be here giving a report. But his report is in your packet, and it includes the Catalina Verdugo Adobe renovation project, the Maple Park site improvement project, the Maryland Avenue Park project, which we alluded to earlier, the Pacific Park Artificial Turf Project, which is a joint project with the school district, the Palmer Park Improvement Project, and the Riverwalk Phase 2 and 3 project, which is beginning design work very shortly. And again, there's information on the status of those projects in your packet. If you had a chance to read that report, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer questions now, or we can review it more at the next meeting. Okay.
I did go on the Catalina Verdugo Trail 5 times now. It's great.
Thank you.
And that's up at the Sports Center, so I commend everyone involved who put that together. Iris.
Item 6B1D, Park Services.
Well, good afternoon, President Pro Tem Sharkey, members of the Commission. My name is Coco Panosian. I oversee the Park Services operation, which is responsible for the maintenance and safety of all of our parks and recreation facilities. What we typically do every month is provide you with a report highlighting all of the work orders that we have completed. And we have our work split into 2 kinds. What we call is the routine biweekly maintenance that we schedule, things that are pretty much done on a daily basis, weekly basis, or biweekly basis. We highlight those separately and take care of them as just the routine maintenance. What you will see in these reports mostly are either projects or work that are outside of the routine, which we refer to as demand, and we complete them by way of a work order. For the month of June, our staff was busy. They completed 219 work orders, which typically runs about 150 on a given month basis. Our gardeners completed 126 work orders. Pesticide applicator had 30 work orders completed, and irrigation-related work orders amounted to 63 this month. What we also do is highlight some of them in here that every month try to pick a different type of a task or project to highlight for commission. So when you see in the report, some of the work orders are highlighted literally. And those are things that might interest commission and are different than the generic weekly items that we present, monthly items we present for you. Also, what we do for the benefit of commission and the public is we actually try to get pictures of the projects we complete and give you a pictorial view of what we do in the field. And this would be the presentation for the month of June. One of the projects we completed was at the Mayor's Bicentennial Park, which most of you are very familiar with. It's adjacent to the 2 freeway. You can actually see the park from the 2 freeway as you drive by it. And we had to do some major tree and shrub clearance in the driveway. The Mayor's Park is a long driveway. As you enter, by the time you get to the parking lot, it's a beautiful stretch, but with the beautiful stretch comes a handy load of work when it comes to the trees and the shrubs. And they needed major cleanup and TLC. And our staff got in there this last month and maintained all of the trees and the shrub beds. It took a few loads of the debris out, and of course, it requires some heavy equipment to be able to load the trucks and get it cleared out. And once the guys were done, you end up having a nice, beautiful, very clean landscape driveway. And mayors desperately needed this work, and our staff got to it. And here's another view of it going up. And this would be going down, standing up in the parking lot. Next project is at Brand Park. What we had, it might be somewhat visible right in this area right over here in the yellow. It's right next to the wading pool, just south of the playgrounds. We had a tree stump. After a tree was down and all the debris was removed, we had a stump still remaining. You can imagine those things aren't very easy to remove, especially if it's a mature tree. We borrowed a stump grinder from our Public Works Forestry section. We worked very closely with them on a lot of issues, and we had staff come in and literally go down and stump grind the stump itself to take all of the remaining parts of the tree and the roots and grind it down to just mulched and down to the ashes of the dirt. And this would be the completed project where the stump is gone. Now we can actually plant in this area, whether it be a tree and or any other landscape modification. Fremont Park. We get, some of the commissioners know we get tagged a lot, graffiti, and Fremont Park is no different. It is actually one of our major graffiti hubs that gets hit a lot. And this time around it was all over the play area. And I'll go through it somewhat fast because some of them I can't quite read, but I don't want to post some things that are on there. But it was a major hit of graffiti in this area that staff had to get in and try to clean up. As you can note, as much as you try and clean up, as many solutions you try, there's always, sometimes it still stays there. So as unfortunate as it is, the vandalism we experience in the parks is at very high rates, especially in the summertime where it's light out longer and the kids are out, got nothing better to do sometimes. We would encourage them to come and join some of the recreation programs we offer so they have something to do and keep them busy. But unfortunately, our staff deals with this on a daily basis, and that one was a major hit. We wanted to highlight that for you. Griffith Manor Park. This is a Coast Live Oak tree that is in front of the community building. What we had noticed, look at the condition of this tree. It is not doing well. It's not very healthy. And we want to preserve it as much as possible. So we had staff evaluate it and start applying some organic fertilizers. And we're constantly going to be watering and keeping an eye out on this tree. It could have been an impact of the construction. We just don't know. But this particular one among the group is not doing so well. We're hoping to keep it alive and bring it back to life.
I'm sorry, what kind of tree was it?
Coast Live Oak tree.
Okay.
And just to give you a comparison, I know this one is not as mature of a tree. It is very young, but this is what the Coast Live Oak tree should look like. And so we're hoping we can bring the other one back to life to survive, to match this one and the other ones located in the park. Pacific Edison, I have a couple of playground-related work that we want to highlight for you. For the past commissioners, we had promised to show them a difference of when we put the wood fiber, which is the surfacing for safety in the playgrounds. A lot of times when the parks are accessible, we actually bring the material in, and we do the leveling and installation of the fiber ourselves. In some cases, we don't have that luxury, and we have to have a company come in and actually physically blow it in there. It is much more expensive. It depends on the available funding, but at times we have to do that. And we had promised commission, we'll show you a project or two of having done that in the parks, and this is one of them. As you can see, from the street all the way into the parking lot, they end up having in this, I believe it's a 6-inch hose attached to the equipment they have outside, and literally blowing the fiber in the areas that they need. This is a lot faster than the process we go through. The process we go through usually utilizes heavy equipment, 4 to 6 guys, about half a day to get it done. It looks simple, and it's just a task that takes a lot of time to do, to level it properly. And so the contractor will come in and fill in the fiber in areas that's fully needed. It has to be maintained at a certain level for the safety of the kids, depending on the fall zone. And once they were done, for this specific project, we had staff come in and pressure wash the walkways and the paved areas to kind of give the park a little nicer look. Especially with the pool very active, we tend to get a very, very heavy use in this facility. And there it is after the pressure washing was done. Nicely, neatly done. It's a very safe play area now. I guess they gave me a lot of shots. Palmer Park, we had a similar job, but the Palmer Park play area we have, it is of sand. We have very little sand play areas. This one has sand and the safety rubberized rubberized material for the surfacing. It does tend to cross over. We have gone away from the sun in most cases. In the future, a lot of the projects we're working with the capital project folks, we're recommending the surfacing, the rubberized surfacing. It will help us save money in the materials and labor on a daily basis, getting it leveled and maintained. So for this one, staff had to go in and aerate the areas, level the sand, drag them, clean out anything you could possibly imagine could come out of the sand when you get it cleaned out, and have it all the debris removed, polished, pressure washed the area, and then have a nice playground for the kids. Just for Commission's information, Palmer Park, as you know, is being looked at as one of our sites. We're looking at some renovations, and we're working with the capital folks in this playground itself to have it replaced in the not so far future. Maple Park was another one that we had to have the fly bar. Again, we had to hire the same contractor to come in and blow it in for a $1,800 fee. Again, it is very important for the fire bar to be at a significant level, at specific levels for the fall zone. So when a kid falls off equipment, whether they're using it properly or improperly, we don't want anybody getting injured. And the leveling of the surfacing in the proper areas, proper fall zones, is key. That's briefly the end of the presentation we have. Are there any questions from Commission we can answer?
Job.
I know.
Thank you.
Amazing. Amazing. Every time I go to a park, it's just pristine. It's wonderful.
Well, I always give the guys credit, and they do deserve it. Our staff in the field, with the reductions we've seen, really pull hard, and you know they've gone two steps above where they were, and are still keeping the parks the best of our abilities safe and maintained in a good
That's
condition.
what's so amazing with the cutbacks and everything is just kept so well. So thank you. Are we at adjournment, or we have one more?
That is actually all we have on the agenda.
Okay, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
That Mayor's Park is just